Greeting class. I hope you guys are doing well, whatever you are. So I would like to take the time and then to show you guys how we can go about creating a recursive function. This tutorial is for those of you that have difficulty to start how to write a simple recursive function. So with that having said, I think the first thing we have to mention is that recursive function is a function that calls itself or references itself. Uh, so with that said, let's go ahead and start to write a simple recursive function. I think the first thing you have to do is you have to launch your IDL. In this case, I already launched it. And I create under, I said new file, and this is the window that I got. So now let's go ahead and add some comment. Objective, what is our objective? Is to create a recursive function, right? So now the first thing we have to do is we have to pay attention to the syntax. We say div. We're going to call this recursive test, for instance. That's the name of our function, and this is going to be our parameter n. That could be any number. You could put letters. You could be m, n, y. In this case, I have selected n. Then we press return. The next thing we have to do is we're going to create a base. So a recursive function should have a base where it tells it to stop, where it reaches the final destination of its functionality. In this case, I'm going to create an f function. What I want to do is I want to stop, get out of this when the value has reached 0. But on the other cases, you may have different scenario where the function's logic is different. So the key is that you need to have a base for your recursive function. So here, what I'm going to say is we are done. We'll say end of the recursive function. Okay, return. Now, that's the case when it's the base is reached when ns equals to 0. Now, what else if it's not 0? In this case, what we're going to do is we're going to do a print statement here. For instance, the result of 10 is equals sign, for instance. And so because I want to see the result, then what I'm going to do is, this is the key thing, I'm going to be calling the same function itself, right? But I'm going to remove one value from it. So again, this is a simple function, recursive, I want to show you how we can start it, the logic of it. But then some function may have different type of logic, like factorial, for instance, may have different logic. But anyway, the goal is to show you how we can write a recursive function. Now we are done with this. So the next thing we need to do is we have to call our function, right? Recursive test. I'm going to say 10. I will be passing the value 10 to it. So let's recap. So in this case, we're creating a recursive function, right? So this is the definition, this is the syntax, diff space, the name of the function, open parentheses. Inside the parentheses, we put the parameter. In this case, I call it n. Then I'm saying if the value of that is equal to 0, then we need to print some statement or exit the function so we can stop. If it's not equal to 0, Then we're going to go to the next line where we're going to print the result of n. And then we're going to call itself again, but this time we're going to subtract 1 minus 1. So this is going to go 10 times, and then it's going to stop when it reaches 0. Now, another thing we have to do is we have to call this recursive function. So let's go ahead and run this. I think also another thing I want to mention is that we have to use the incremental development. Incremental development is where whenever you add a certain logic, run your code to make sure that it runs and does not generate any error. So let's run this guy. So of course, let me call this, give it a name. I save it. All right, here we go. So as you can see, it ran 1, 2, 3, 4. It print the result, and then it stopped when it reaches 0. So I hope you find this tutorial helpful, at least get you started with the recursive function, how we can go about writing one. So I really recommend that you go ahead and practice with this, run your own different value, and then run it. Thank you for watching.